Hey everybody. So for this discussion board, I wanted to talk a little bit about how I would approach my session with Bob and Doris based off of the information we were given in the lecture. Um I would make my main goal to make this session in the room, or if it's on Zoom, this call, um I would want to make it feel like a safe space and welcoming, where they're feeling comfortable to open up from the start. Because I do feel like if they don't feel heard or supported right away, it's going to be hard for them to trust the process with me. And it's important that I get them to it's just that's important that I get them to trust that process, because it'll be a hard and long process if they don't. I would also focus a lot on building a rapport, not just with the things that I say, but the way that I say them. My tone of voice, body language, and I know eye contact can go a long way in showing both of them that I am fully present with them from the start too. This would mean that I would have to use the idea from that we were talking about called joining from the start, and that might be an issue for me. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it in the second question. I would have to align myself with both Bob and Doris's experiences. That way they both can feel like I'm on their side as a couple, as a unit, and not just on Doris's side or Bob's side. At the same time, though, I would want to be clear about my confidentiality rules and how my sessions will run. That structure helps to set the tone, and it gives them some reassurance too. Overall, I would want this session to feel like a safe place where they can be vulnerable and really begin to start sharing what's really going on between them at home and why they've come to counseling. Now, for the second question, if I'm thinking specifically about Bob and Doris and then the basic 7 concepts from family therapy, I can see some areas where I would probably struggle, and the first one is joining. I know it's important, and I know I would have to probably get started on that from the first session. And it's hard. It's hard to balance and have empathy for both Bob and Doris, because one of them, if one of them is more loud, more emotional, more like there and giving me the information that I need to know, it would be hard to not look like I'm siding with one of them over the other. Another area that would feel a little tricky for me is reframing, and I do understand why it's so useful. Helping couples look at their problems in a new way can open up all kinds of fresh perspectives, get an outside look in, and it does feel intimidating. Like if Doris is frustrated with Bob, finding a way to reframe her frustration as her needing more from him, I feel like would take a lot of practice, and I would really need to work on my confidence before attempting that. The last thing that I feel I might struggle with would be enactments. I would ask Bob and Doris to talk directly to each other instead of through me. I really do love this idea because it gets them to practice communication in real time. I do know and recognize that if their emotions get too high, it could get messy. And so this would also be something that I would need to have as part of my growth as a counselor, which is learning to step in when needed. But I also need to be able to allow them to work through these moments, these high emotional moments, together in a safe and in a safe way, because I'm not always going to be there for them during these moments. So overall, I really do see the basic 7 as like a really solid map for my things I should work on. I do know that I'll have to keep working on staying neutral and reframing and handling enactments. I don't know that I would say those are my weaknesses, but I do see those as skills that I can keep developing with tons of practice, supervision, and experience that I know I will get before I become a counselor.